What's good, people? What's good, people? Big Rich here from the Big Rich Live on the Mic Radio Show, and welcome to this installment of What's the Real Deal. First, I know I've been gone a week, but everybody needs some time to digest and reflect and recharge and get jiggy with it, if you will. Everybody has a time. They should have a time where you just decompress. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on, in society and the world as a whole, and a lot of stuff, in my personal life and stuff like that. Good, nothing bad. But, sometimes you have to take time to decompress. Now, I know a few people has speculated that, it's this long weekend and it's a July 4th weekend, and that's probably why. No, I had to shoot that in the foot real quick. I do not celebrate 4th of July. I don't. That's an Independence Day for Caucasian people. When July 4th was designated as Independence Day, I want to say 1852, Or you could say 1776 if you really want to go really wide. But I'm talking about when it was adopted as a federal holiday. My people were slaves and were considered 3/5 of a person, of a man. So I don't celebrate it. This is the first time that I've been vocal about it. I've celebrated before. Who don't love barbecue and a free day off and you get paid and all of that type of stuff for it. But sometimes you got to take a step back and you got to be like, hey, what am I doing? Am I doing whatever I'm doing for the right reasons, this, that, and the third? So I don't celebrate it. My wife don't celebrate it. My people don't celebrate it, and it is what it is. But I did have somebody over, one of my wife's closest friends that came over, and they did their little girl things, and I went upstairs and watched the Godzilla marathon. Yes, I'm a nerd. I keep telling you guys I'm a nerd. So that's pretty much it. I'm back. I'm reinvigorated. I have so much stuff to talk about now just because the shows have not been on. I've been going back and forth on Twitter, conversing with you guys and gals and disagreeing and blocking people. It's just stupid. Somebody had sent me a meme and it said it was about 4th of July, and it was like, 4th of July, this is what my people were doing, and it was like July 4th, 1852 or something craziness. I can't really remember it. If you want to see it, then go to Dark Shadow on Instagram at Dark Shadow Media TV, and you can actually see the meme. And some ignorant person got on. Actually, it was Twitter, but I did put it on Instagram also. And the Twitter is Dark Shadow Media, at Dark Shadow Media on Twitter. I put it on there, and some, suspected white supremacists got like, oh, this is so comical. I love when I see this picture, even though cameras weren't invented for another 40 years. So I was like, and what is your point? Are you trying to say that this never happened? Is that what you're trying to say? Because if something happened in the dinosaur days, because now we have the technology at that time to recreate that, you say it's funny because, oh, we didn't have wax statues back there when the dinosaur days. Well, damn, we wasn't even around in the early dinosaur period. So what the hell are you talking about? It is just basically something to try to make fun or minimalize what the deal was. I told him to beat it, and I blocked him, ignorant ass. But anyway, it is what it is. First, before we get into, because we got 3 subjects to run. First thing, and I'm going to run through them sort of quick. So you guys are going to have to, Google stuff. I'm going to have some pictures and stuff up while I talk so you can actually see, so I don't really know the names and all that type of stuff. I just wanted to come home and I wanted to get this out and start the weekend rolling, because tomorrow I'm supposed to, I don't know if there's going to be a show tomorrow. Most likely there will be, but I'm not too sure because I have a video shoot a photo shoot in Clearwater tomorrow. So I don't know what time I'll be back to get up to What's the Real Deal, the Saturday edition, but I'm going to try my hardest to do it. And then really have no movies to review because I haven't been in the movies in about 2-3 weeks. So we won't have a movie review show Monday, but I think that I'm going to do a special show Monday, like a prelude to the African American news program that we're going to launch here within the next couple of weeks. I know. I said it was supposed to launch last year. It's coming. Hey, I looked on it. I didn't give a date. I just put on there coming soon. So soon can be today, tomorrow, next week, next year, whatever. So we're gonna get it out. So I haven't made up my mind yet, but that's pretty much what we're looking at. But after today, well, actually what I'll say is after tomorrow, either I'll be able to put the show up tomorrow, or if not, then it will be, we won't have a show tomorrow. We'll have that special show on Monday. But after then, hopefully from now through the end of the summer, we're going to have our regular scheduled show. I know you guys have reached out and said, hey, what the hell? So I'm going to give you guys what you want. Y'all might not be ready for it, but I'm going to give you guys what you want. So first thing what I would say is I'm pointing to my camera right now. Remember before I had anybody who knows looked at my tech show, I think that was in Once the Real Deal. I think I had said that I had a GH5, which was my main character, and my main camera, not character. And my second camera was a G7, both Lumix. And the one thing I didn't like about the G7, if you look at all of my shows since I've gotten the GH5, all of them had double view, so you can see here and there, throughout until the first 21 minutes. And then after the 21 minutes was over, the G7 would stop because it'll give you 21 minutes on the dot, and then it'll stop, and you would have to restart it to start something else. But it just looks stupid for me to be like, well, hold on 1 second. Then I got to do other thing and post, and I don't like doing that. So what I would do is I would just run, because the GH5 has continuous recording and a G85 has continuous recording. So what I used to do was just let it roll, and that was fine. Well, I sold my GX7 and I bought me a G85, and the G85 is supposed to have continuous recording just like my GH5. So if you see the dual shots for the whole show, then you know that the G85 worked and I didn't get ganked. Okay. So anyway, so that's the first thing. But let's get to the stories. The first stories is a so-called police officer. I don't remember exactly where it was. Basically what happened was two youth. I thought they was both African Americans, but we found out that, hold on, let me see this here. Let me see if I could do this here. Duty cop detain. Let me see if that works. Because I liked it. I like to be up on board, but I just got here and I was like, here it is right here. Okay. It was in Illinois. Okay. It was in Illinois. And this so-called, and I say so-called, and I'll explain amen to you. Let me just give my background for anybody who's not a subscriber. I don't know why you're not a subscriber. If you just joining us, I don't know why you just joining us. We've been here for a year. I am a retired police officer. I've been retired for about 6.5 months after 23 years on the force here in Orlando. So when I speak about police issues, yes, it has emotion in it, but it's coming from 23 years of being on the streets. It is 23 years of chasing the bad guy. Either it's fighting, it is just having guns drawn, that type of stuff on me. I've never had to shoot at anybody, discharge my firearm at all. I'm telling you from experience why stuff like this shouldn't happen. So we're just going to get into it. So police in Illinois, they said that they're investigating an incident during which an off-duty officer threatened a black teenager and pinned him to the ground for trespassing. The highly viewed Facebook video shows a man later identified as Lansing a police officer, as an off-duty officer detaining a black youth Saturday after the 15-year-old and a white minor refused the man's order to stay on his property. The youth said, "I was scared, but I was trying to keep calm at the same time." This is what the 15-year-old youth was saying. The 15-year-old youth is Jordan Brunson. They never identified this so-called cop, at least in this, and this is CBS that I'm looking for, right? In a statement released late Tuesday, the Lansing Police Department said that the officer off-duty became involved when he was approached by two subjects involved in a fight. It went on to say that the black youth was temporarily detained for further investigation until the arrival of on-duty officers. The officer took custody of the youth and took them into their home to their homes. Let me tell you why this is bullshit, okay? I'm going to tell you why it's bullshit, and then I'm going to tell you how this should have ended. This is bullshit because, A, if you listen to the video, not once did he say that they was detained? Now, these are a 15-year-old and a white kid was younger than that. How the hell do they know that they are detained if you don't tell them that they are detained? And what are you detaining them for? That's first of all. Second of all, this man, that's what I call him. I'm not going to call him an officer. This man used more F-bombs than a pirate. This is a child you are talking to. You can hear the child saying, "Look, man, I'll leave. Why are you doing this to me?" You hear the so-called officer because your friend is an asshole, is a jerk, or whatever. Now, let's get to what happened prior to them coming on his property. There was a fight that these two fellas was involved, may or may not been involved in, further down the street, couple of streets over. They were running from the fight. They end up in this man's yard. They didn't jump over fences or anything. They was in this man's yard, holding their breath, like trying to catch their breath because they had just been involved in some type of altercation where the white juvenile had a bloody mouth. He comes out, he says one thing. I don't know what they said after because it doesn't come on till after he had already got the kid dragged down. So on my Twitter feed, you got a lot of kids. You have a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, we don't know what happened beforehand." Really? Do you have to know what happens beforehand? What you need to know is you have an adult and you have a 15-year-old child. First of all, a lot of Caucasians, unfortunately, this is what we're talking about. But a lot of Caucasian men and women have a hard time believing that these kids are as young as they are. Black kids that are young as they are. That's the first thing. Second of all, because of Trump's presidency and other stuff, some Caucasian people are more emboldened to do things to minorities that they necessarily wouldn't have done in the past. And third, you just have people who are on the force who should never be allowed to police anybody. Anyone. I have never been more discouraged and embarrassed for my chosen profession in my 23 years. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have never been this embarrassed or discouraged about my chosen profession in my life. I can honestly say that I was one of those cats that, hey, I'm good. It doesn't happen in front of me. I was one of them until I went through personal issues, i.e. cancer that almost killed me and that type of stuff right there. That you start to look at things. You start to become more woke. You start to see exactly what's going on around you. Okay? And then you start to realize these people should not be police. One, that man is adult. These are two kids. You act like a freaking adult. Second, it's even worse because you are a police officer and you're acting like a gang member. You're acting like a jerk. You are acting like the child. They are acting like the adults. Period. Thirdly, I've said this before. I'll say it again till I leave this earth. We police officers should be held to the utmost highest standards. Why you say that? It's because there is nobody, not even the president of himself, is more powerful than a police officer. Let me explain to you why. I've said this before. Years ago, when I first came on, hopefully it's not that way now, but when I first came on, there was a saying that went around. You might beat the charge, but you won't beat the ride. What the hell does that mean? That means I can make up anything. Me as a police officer, I can make up anything. And arrest, you know what I think? You know, I'm hearing something in my pocket, and it's Siri, because I guess my pocket is, see, this is just killing me. Okay. Oh, that's, you know what? That's not even Siri. That's his dang on gear watch. Anyway, I have been, you know, we should be held to the highest standards. The highest standards. We can arrest almost anybody for anything. We know better. We're trained. We're supposed to be intelligent. Now, most of us are college educated, at least in the bigger agencies. They're looking for college education, college educated men and women, people who might or might not have military background. This is what you're looking for. This is what you're looking for. We should know better. And you constantly see people who don't know better. I don't want to hear, hey, well, supposing those kids said F you to the cop, this, that, and they're kids. They're kids. You are an adult. You're a police officer. You should know better. Period. Now, all of a sudden, now that the video goes viral, he says, oh, well, I was detaining them. Detaining for what? For what? They explained to you why they was in your yard. And let's just break this down even further. It wasn't like they was in his backyard where he had a privacy fence where they had to climb over his fence to get into his property. It wasn't like they was pulling on his door, pulling on his window, or he found them hiding in his bushes. None of that. They were in his front yard. The least he should have did was, hey, look, fellas, y'all need to get off my property. I'm a police officer. I need y'all to go. He told him he was a police officer when he was roughing him the hell up. So basically what you're telling me is this guy here, to hell with the fact that the white juvenile is standing there filming you with a bloody mouth. You don't give a damn about that. When they try to leave, you don't care about that. You're going to hold them there. For what? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. He should lose his job. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, damn, Rich, why should he lose his job when he was off duty? No, because to protect his ass, he's saying that he was temporarily detaining them. When you coming from a police officer, if I temporarily detain somebody for a crime that happened, a possible crime that happened in my it happened while I'm here, right? I then now become a police officer. I go back to being on duty. I'm a police officer. So he told him that time. So he couldn't have said that when he first came on there and figure out what the hell is going on. These are kids. Let me explain something to you. Not all black kids, and this you know, this gonna hurt somebody's feeling, but not all black kids deal with the police on a regular basis. Not all black kids are thugs and criminals that they deal with this. This young boy could be scarred for the rest of his life. I want you to remember the last time you was pulled over by police. I guarantee you, when you saw them lights turn on in the back of you, your heart skipped a beat. If you're black, it happened a little bit more than that. But if you're white, even though I know that it psychologically does that. The lights on the top are not only for safety, and they're not only to let you know that you're being stopped. It is also for a psychological trigger, right? It is also a psychological trigger. They do that. We do that to keep you off base. So these 15-year-olds could be totally traumatized for this bullshit. For what? Remember, I just finished reading. They didn't do anything. The cops took them and took them home. Dropped them off. They didn't take them to juvenile detention center. They didn't put the handcuffs on them. But this is what this gentleman is able to do. I say he should lose his job. I don't give a damn if he was in uniform or not. He should not be patrolling the streets, being paid by any police organization ever again. Ever again. These are things where these are triggers. Because if a person can act like that in their civilian clothes, imagine what the hell they doing when they 10-8 on the street. Imagine, think about it. Just think about it. Think about the mentality. Like I used to tell, and this is off on a tangent a little bit, but like I used to tell battered women when I used to go on domestic violence calls, or women that were stalked. I used to ask them. I was like, okay, you said that this man, you said that you came out your house because you was going on a date, and you saw your ex-husband in a car across the street. Never did anything, just across the street. No reason, don't live there, but he's across the street. You came back 4 or 5 hours later after your date was finished and your date dropped you off. You saw this fool still in the same spot, still in the same car. Do you understand the mentality that somebody has to have to do that? And if you think it doesn't happen, you're living under a rock, because it happens every day. There's somebody stalking somebody right now. So that is the analogy that I use when I say, if this guy can do this in civilian clothes, in his home or outside of his home, and it's off duty, imagine what he's doing when he's on uniform, when he's 10-8 on the street. He should be fired. He should also be brought up on charges. Period. Period. He assaulted that man. That child. If you're saying that they didn't do anything wrong, because we found out that they didn't do anything wrong, they were running. Y'all ever been into a fight? Y'all ever been into a fight when y'all was young? Right? So you're in a fight, okay? And you're running. If you're ready, especially if you're being chased, let's just say you chased by a dog. I don't give a damn if you can climb a 6-foot brick wall to jump into somebody's property to get away from a dog. You're going to do it. So how do you know what the deal is? How do you know what the deal is? He overreacted. This is what we see commonly. Commonly. That's why he should lose his job. They're investigating it now. I don't know if he's on death duty. Let me see if they suspended him and put him on death duty. It said the video speaks for itself, said Andrew M. Sloth. The Lansing Police Department is confiscating two separate and distinct incidents. And what I want to know is how the officer possibly justified using excessive force and threatening to kill the 15-year-old boy. Straub and the family demanding a full investigation by the Lansing police in order to determine whether or not they will pursue any litigation. The fact of the matter is, let me see. Okay, so I guess he's a detective, because they said that this. I guess they called for clarification. The detective involved in investigating the case was unavailable for comment. It's one of those things where they sitting around here trying to figure out how they're gonna get him away from this. or get him out of this. Sorry, you can't. You can't. You have forfeited your right to be a police officer. Period. Period. He should be terminated today. It's going to take a little while, but he should be terminated as soon as possible, if not sooner. Period. I'm going to tell you how it should have ended. Now, this is how I would do it. But again, I'm a 23-year veteran. I'll say it, okay, I'm a veteran. You know, maybe I don't know how long he's been a police officer. But let's just say it happened to me. Let's just say that it happened to a normal police officer who knows better. Hey, fellas, what's going on? Why y'all on my property? You know, because one, I don't know who these boys are. One white, one black, I don't know. So if I'm coming out to say something, if I'm coming out to get them out my yard, two things I'm going to have on me. One, I'm going to have my badge, maybe even a shirt that says police to identify myself as I walk out. And two, my sidearm. Because again, I don't know if they running from the police. I don't know nothing. But if I'm going to come out of my place, I'm going to identify myself immediately. And I'm going to say, fellas, y'all on my property, what's going on? Now, if I get some back talk and some shit talk, I'll be like, look, I done told you guys that I'm the police. Y'all on my property. I need y'all to get on. While I'm doing that, I'm calling the police. Okay, because I'm not going to sit around here and roll around in the dirt with you. None of that. I'm not doing none of that. What am I do that for? What? What am I going to do that for? I'm not rolling around or anything like that. Nothing. Nothing. Okay? So, if I get the lip, I already said what I was going to do. If I don't get the lip and they say, look, man, I'm sorry, you know, we was involved in a, we were involved in a fight. You know, my boy got punched in the mouth. We trying to roll. Okay, look. Y'all come over here. You know, I'm looking at the boy. If I'm looking at the boy, the Caucasian male that has a busted lip, I'm gonna be like, hey man, you need some medical attention? Now I'm going into cop mode. You need some medical attention? Is anybody after you? Everybody okay? How old are y'all? Well, I'm 15. Let's just say the white kid is 13. I don't know. But we know that the black kid who was assaulted was 15. And they said that the white kid who had the busted lip was younger than him. So let's just throw out 13. Where your parents at? You know, I'm not going to let them just walk out. Look, fellas, hold on. Hold tight. Hold tight. All right. Y'all don't want that's cool. Let's call your folks. You know, let's get them coming. You know, maybe if they really cool and they shaking up and they live close, I might even say, look, go and get in my car. You know, I'm gonna take you home. That's what a freaking officer is supposed to do. Not what the hell happened here. Not what happened here. Right? So you are in a situation where you see this happen and then you automatically get, oh, well, they shouldn't have been on his lawn. They shouldn't have did this. They shouldn't have did that. Well, did you listen to the whole story that they was running from a fight? Did you listen to them saying that the Caucasian kid had a busted lip? Did you hear that? So I ask you, Big Mouth, who says that if you're involved in a fight and you might be getting jumped or whatever it might be and you're running, are you going to sit up there and be like, oh, I can't go on this grass because this is this private property. Oh, I can't jump this fence even though these motherfuckers are behind me. And I'm sorry I cursed, but it's it. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me that crap. It's always trying to justify, well, they shouldn't have been doing this. No, the only adult there was him. The only cop there who was trained and know better was him. So you sit up there and you say, okay, this is what we're going to do, fellas. This is what we're going to do. Whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, woo, 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 woo. Let me call the police. If they didn't want to go with me, maybe they didn't recognize me or whatever, I would have been hard pressed to allow them to go to walk away unless they just really, look, man, I just live around the corner and shit. Okay, all right, bro. But look, I just want to make sure y'all cool. Obviously, your man got hit in the face. You know, let me help y'all out. And if in the meantime, you know, or during that time, they really didn't want any help, you let them go. You still can call the police. Hey, look, this is what happened. Whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. They're wearing this. They're wearing that. Can you guys send, if you got a cruiser in the area, just send and check on them. Make sure they going home. Make sure nobody is chasing them. This, that, and the third. And again, if you about right, let's just say, now remember, this happened Tuesday. Today, Friday. Let's just say they had climbed over his fence and they was looking in his window. Don't you think that would have came out already? Don't you think that would have came out already? I have made a decision that I started a couple of weeks ago, actually a couple of months ago, that I will tell it just like it is. I wasn't the best cop available, but what I always used to say is I'll put my career up against anybody. I'm highly decorated. I got every award available except for the two highest ones. Purple Heart, because thank God I never got shot. And the award of commendation. I got the very next one, because you know, the Purple Heart is over here. You know, because, you know, the award of commendation medal is here. The award of merit is here. 1, 2. I got 2. Okay? If you looked at my retirement picture with all of my ribbons, I have 4 rows of ribbons. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, hey, I'm telling you what's good. I'm telling you that what you see is bullshit. Was bullshit. He need to be fired, brought up on charges, and I would really consider suing his ass. Suing him personally. Start digging some money out of his pockets. Whether I win or lose, he gonna have to hire a lawyer. This is animalistic behavior. I don't care what a child says to you, because let me tell you something. I've been called the N-word by the best of them. As long as you saying that to me while you walking, obeying my commands, I don't give a damn. I used to tell them, hey, walk and talk, walk and talk. Talk that shit all you want. As long as you walking away from me, good. You can call my mama everything. You can call my family this, that, no. You can call me every N-word of the book. As long as you walking away, because I have told you to beat it, I'm good. Now, you're not going to say that in my face, but see, I got something for you. I don't have to kick your ass. I don't have to mess you up. I'm either spray you with mace, taser you, if you fit that in the force continuum, to make you pee on yourself, because a lot of times you're drunk and you're stupid, and then you going to jail. Guess what? I'm going home after that. You feel what I'm saying? One thing I've always told officers, I was in charge, not really in charge. Yeah, you could say it. You know, me and another partner of mine, best partner I ever had. We was up under a sergeant. And basically, we was in charge of the field training program, right? We was field training coordinators. What that means is after the recruits finished the academy, they would then be assigned to us. What we would do is we would break it in half. If it was 4, I get 2, he get 2. If it was 18, I get 9, he get 9. You follow what I'm saying? And then you would be in charge of those 9 people, or those 2 people, those 4 people, or 8 people, whatever. You will be in charge of getting them from the orientation, which that is the first time they do police stuff, all the way through 4 phases of training and then out into the street. One thing I used to tell them from the jump, and I know a lot of them watch this show, a lot of them are subscribers, and they can click it and say, hey, he's right. One thing I used to always tell them is the biggest thing that will get you in trouble is taking shit personal. You go on a call of somebody who got raped and you catch the rapist. They did not rape you. They did not rape your mom. They didn't rape your daughter. They didn't molest your child. They didn't steal from your house. They didn't kill your dad. They didn't, nothing. Don't take it personal. If you do what you're supposed to do and act professional at all times, you will never get in trouble. Does that mean you will never get a complaint? Nope. I got a few complaints in 23 years. I didn't get a whole lot, but I got a few. Not one sustained. Sustained mean I was guilty of it. Because I'm a fair worker. Did I cuss people out? Damn right I did. Damn right I did. But they was cussing me out just like I was cussing them out. And it wasn't in that thing. It's just certain things. But hey, man, get the hell out of here. What you doing with this bullshit, man? What are y'all doing? What the F are y'all doing? Quit acting like idiots. You know what they said? Hey, boss man, you right, man. You right, man. I sure appreciate it. Why? Because after I cussed them out, I let them go. There was another thing we used to be taught that I transferred over. Don't lecture somebody and then give them a ticket. Don't lecture somebody and then arrest them. You do one or two. One of the two. Now, there are some people who need to be talked to after they're arrested. Look, man, this is what you need to do. This is why you're being arrested. You know, she has a restraining order against you. You can't do this. Well, she did that then. You can't do it. Get you a lawyer. Keep the texts that she sent you after the no contact order. Then give them to your lawyer. Let your lawyer go to the judge and get it squared away. These are things you can do. And I know I'm going off on a little tangent, but I'm trying to bring it back home, and I'm trying to say that this is not how we're supposed to act, period. We know better. And even if he wasn't a police officer, he is a grown man. He is supposed to be a role model. Whether you think you're a role model, I remember back in the day, Charles Barkley said, I'm not a role model. This person said she's not a role model. You as an adult are a role model to everybody who follows you. Why? Because a lot of kids think like I used to and still do, that if you was here a minute longer than I have, then you have a minute longer of life experience than I do. That doesn't mean that I have to listen to everything that you say and accept everything that you say. What that means is that I should respect what you have to say and try to learn from somebody who's been on this earth a little bit longer than my ass. So you have a situation where he acts like a fool. Now, all of a sudden, see, he wasn't worried about that then. Talking about he gonna kill, I could kill you. Excuse me. Then and I didn't watch the last part when his alleged wife came out talk about shooting somebody. Just ignorant shit. Ignorant shit. What was you going to do? You going to shoot somebody who was just standing on your lawn? Really? That's how we got to? That's where we at? You two are adults. Then let's just say, because some kids, just like some little girls look like women, some kids can look like they're older. Once you got the little gentleman on the ground, he's telling you what's going on. Let him up. I wouldn't even have got that far, and it's not because I'm black and he's black. Yes, it would have went a little bit different if it was me, because he would have identified with me a lot more. But there are white officers that I would take a bullet for because I've seen how they react and interact with all people. Sometimes you got to cuss somebody out, but it's always in a professional way. And when you see stuff like this and you have people already choosing sides instead of saying, you know, I've been rolling. It's almost 40 minutes. You know, we're running almost 40 minutes. And I hate doing that because when I miss my eye, anyway. Reverend Barber, who I love, I've never met. I really would love to meet this gentleman. But I was watching one of his videos, one of his past videos today. And he said, sometimes you just have to stand up and say what's wrong is wrong. Not, well, he's a white person, I'm white, I need to stay there. Or he's an adult, I'm adult, I need to stay there. He's a Republican, I'm a Republican, I need to stay there. He's a Democrat, he's a cop, I need to stay there. What's wrong is wrong. This man was wrong. Period. Period. I'm not going to sit up here and say, well, you would have known, would he have done this if it would have been 2 white kids? I don't think so, but I'm not going to even go there. The fact of the matter is these were kids. Kids. He's an adult. He's a police officer, and he should know fucking better. And he should be held to the highest standards, which should include him losing his job, facing charges, and possibly getting civilly sued. But then also this goes with the lack of parenting men in the home. And I don't know nothing about either of these 2 guys. These 2 guys could have 2 dads. But I know when I was growing up, my dad wasn't in the home, but he didn't play no crap. I had larger uncles who had married my aunts. They didn't take no crap. If this had happened to me, oh, somebody had been knocking on his door or sitting out in front of his house on public. Hey, man, we got an issue here. What you putting your hands on this boy? You got to explain yourself to me. I know if I was riding up and I saw this, I'd have got out and he would have had to explain to me, cop or no cop. Well, what did he do? First of all, get the fuck off of him. That would have been the first thing. We'd have all been some fights. Excuse my friends, I'm about to curse. We'd have all been some fighting motherfuckers. And don't let that have been my child you put your hands on. Because then we would have really been some fighting motherfuckers. I'd have really went to jail. Because you would have had to explain yourself. You just assaulted, not insulted, assaulted a 15-year-old child. Now I know that I said I had 3 subjects. And it's almost 41, 43 minutes. I didn't, I'm just passionate about this first one. So what I'll say is this. Tomorrow for What's the Real Deal, What's the Real Deal, I'm sorry. Big Rich Live on the Mic, the Saturday edition. I will take up where I left off and cover the last 2 and maybe add another one to make it 3 stories. So I will have a show tomorrow. All right. So I appreciate you guys being there. Please subscribe to the channel. I don't know why you ain't already. About halfway through, you should have been like, oh man, this is a shit talking ass cop. I need to go ahead on and see what the hell going on. Subscribe to the channel. Matter of fact, if you really want to be real, if you really want to get connected, click that bell to the right of the subscribe button. So every time I have a show and I upload, you'll get a notification and let me know. Also, like, share, and subscribe this video. Put it on your social media platform if you will. I sure appreciate it. Each one teach one. That's what we do here. I don't have to go over our connections and all that type of stuff because there it is along the bottom of the dang on screen. So I'm going to be out of here. Thank you guys for waiting the week. I hope I threw some fire under your behinds and you get in where you can fit in. So in the meantime and in between time, stay blessed, stay safe, stay woke. Peace. Your boy out of here.